Jesse Homestead. How the heck are you today? Decided to sit down and take a little break. And since I haven't done a video at all for you folks this week, I thought I'd better get one put together and get out there. And I did want to talk a little bit about this election thing because when I originally put out the video of how I was planning to vote, and I was being totally honest with you folks, that's the way I intended to vote. Then it was Monday. I was kind of looking at some of the political goings on out there, and I actually saw an ad ran by an environmental group attacking Donald Trump on that he was not behind Agenda 21. He was not behind climate change, global warming, all that nonsense. And, and the environmentalists need to stand behind him because the planet's going to be poisoned under his administration. Start with kids. The planet's been being poisoned since 1975. And next year, approved and okayed under President Obama, the worst poisons we've seen to date are now cleared to start being applied on your food and on the soil. And when the repercussions come out on that, I'm sure that Donald Trump will get the credit, but it was approved last year. Keep that in mind. So, and by the way, your planet's being poisoned by the very people pushing Agenda 21. Isn't that fascinating? Think they might be lying to you? Yeah. Anyway, so I saw this, thought to myself, well, I had this nagging thought in the back of my head that, maybe this guy could be a stumbling block to this, and at least slow it down to give the rest of us a chance to do something with it. So, and I wrestled with that all day Tuesday. Finally had to go to the polls because it was either get my tush up there or not vote at all. And I'm just not one for that. So, got up to the polls and even stood there in the line, standing at the ballot box. Warren the town, it's closest to us that we vote at. I think all 5 people that lived there was running the polling place there. So anyway, we go there, and or I go there. Wife had already voted, and I'm standing there looking down at that screen, going, huh. And I went ahead and voted for Donald Trump, thinking, if he's and that's what I kept telling myself, was it could have been just political mudslinging. He may have never even talked about being against these things, and somebody just tagged him with it. But I thought, well, if nothing else, if that be true, then I'd have to. I'd feel bad if he lost and I didn't vote for him. So, of course, he won Tennessee by a landslide. I could have stayed home and put my feet up, went to bed early. But when I got home, I was watching the election coverage, and when I'm talking about watching it, I usually do it online. And that way I can tab up all the different news services and kind of work my way down the line, hear what everybody's talking about and so forth. And it wasn't until today that really the information started coming out of how did all these news agencies and pollsters get it so wrong, so terribly wrong. Because that night, Tuesday night, while they started talking about the very high intelligent levels of the educated people that are voting in this election, informed electorate, and so forth. And then as the night went on and Donald Trump started winning, all of a sudden the voters became a bunch of uneducated rednecks. Well, here's what the problem was, folks. Their polls showed that most of Trump supporters were non-college graduate white males. they thought that's who turned out in force and pushed this election through. When they started starting to be able to analyze the stuff, they found out that the reason their polls were so wrong is because college-educated white males weren't talking. They just weren't talking. They weren't talking to the pollsters. Messed up their polls. That's something we ought to keep in mind. Maybe we can quit this nonsense of these pollsters trying to influence our elections. They, by all the polls and all the experts, had Hillary Clinton hands down winning this thing. They were wrong. Why were they wrong? Because people weren't talking to the pollsters. They didn't know that there was a large group of college-educated white males. There was a large group of college-educated white females. There was a very large group of educated Hispanics. The list went on and on. And they got handed their heads. And they need to wake up. People are getting tired of these games. Truly tired of these games. Now, of course, you watch the news now, and they're all talking about how, well, people were hiding that they were going to back Trump because they were ashamed of him. No, they're just tired of pollsters. I got to be honest with you. When I have pollsters call here, and they ask me about want to start talking about elections and so forth, I usually respond with, I have no intention of voting this year. That's it. And it's a very short conversation, and I can get on back to what I was doing. See how it works? Because I've learned that they use that information to, to try to fool the voting public. Don't talk to them. I'd stop this nonsense. Just don't. I'm not voting. See you. So that's what happened to them. A bunch of college-educated white males and college-educated white females and highly educated, college-educated Hispanics just didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. Y'all didn't turn into a bunch of rednecks overnight. It turns out that they were the ones who looked a little not too smart. Okay. So congratulations, America. You kind of pulled one over the media's eyes for a change. There was a group in California, out of Los Angeles, that I heard about that kept polling the exact same people all throughout the election. And guess what? That Los Angeles poll kept showing the same thing. Trump was going to win the presidential election. Of course, all the pollsters are going, that's not the right way to do it. So, yeah, but that's the reason for looking at the documentation that these people had in front of them, that you were a bunch of uneducated boobs if you voted for Trump. And it turns out that is not the case at all. A bunch of professional, college-educated people were voting for Trump. They just weren't telling anybody that's what they were doing. Lions and tigers and bears. I found that pretty humorous. But on to the election. I did vote for Donald Trump. I also voted for one of my federal representatives who was up for re-election. The lady had done a very good job. Everything she promised to do her last election, she had put forth the bills to try to get done and pushed them. And not all of them passed, But for an elected official, all you can ask them to do is try to live up to what you're telling me. You may not win them all, but try hard. So I figured that she deserved a vote to go back into office because she had tried. Now, the hatred flying around out there over this election is just amazing. Okay? Donald Trump is nobody's saint, not by any stretch of the imagination. And probably 90%, I don't want to go that far, I'd probably say 75% of the stuff that he's had thrown at him, uh, you know, was possibly true. But Hillary Clinton was no saint either. Okay? The Clintons, with Hillary's help, ruined a lot of women who had been sexually assaulted by her husband. Ruined them. Who they couldn't buy off, they destroyed. Do you think she's really for women? Or is she for her husband and herself? So let's give it both, each one of them, 75-75, and figure neither one of them had spotless records, folks. Now, let's face facts. And so Hillary was not all that hot of a selection, and I think a lot of the Democrats, if they sit down and think about it, would have preferred to see another candidate. And a lot of the Republicans, I'm sure, if they sat and thought about it, would have rather had another candidate. Although I have to say that Trump made for an interesting campaign season. I got to give him that. Come on, guys. He was entertaining if nothing else. And hopefully he makes a good president. You never know. Okay? We've had some pretty colorful individuals sit down in that Oval Office and did good jobs. Matter of fact, if nothing else, I'd kind of like to have a president who thinks out of the box a little bit. Now, I'm going to give some presidential advice. Donald, if you ever get the urge to rub somebody's nose in the fact you won from the opposition side, refrain. I lost all respect for President Obama when he sat and told people, well, elections have consequences. I won. That was a 2-year-old statement. Spoiled brat. And that was disgusting. Unpresidential and disgusting. Well, let's not do that, Mr. Trump. You're serving all of America now. And you need to work with all of Americans there in Washington, D.C. And on top of that, you did not control the vote. The people did. So you're as lucky as anybody else that you're even sitting there. Try to keep that in mind. Now I'm going to do something very few people ever do. First, I'm going to congratulate the people who voted for President-elect Trump. And hey, good job. You stuck to your guns. You went through it thick and thin. Myself, I was last minute kind of, okay, do I do this or not? Some of you were there for him from the beginning. And congratulations. You've elected a new president. For you Hillary Clinton supporters, I strongly disagreed with your choice for president. You strongly disagreed with the Republican choice for president, and that's fine. But let me be one to tell you, I'm sorry you lost. There had to be a winner and there had to be a loser. And I'm sorry, but, your candidate lost. It's not a good feeling. And, I know it angers some people and frustrates some people. The system works. Don't give up on the system. Understand that there's going to be a loser. Sometimes it's going to be your side, and sometimes it's going to be the other guy's side. It's kind of the yin and yang of things, folks. We're a republic. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have one side push an agenda, and it's going to go so far, and then all of a sudden you're going to find another side all of a sudden comes in and pushes that agenda back. That's trying to tell you that, you got a large percentage of Americans who's not crazy about that agenda. And now to really succeed, you need to start looking at compromise. Can we and get somewhere in the middle? So, with that being said, I know it's tough time for a lot of Democrats. Don't give up on the process, and don't start hate stuff. That accomplishes nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, I don't recall at any point in time in my entire last 8 years did I say that I hated Barack Obama. Some of his policies I didn't agree with. Some of the things he did I didn't agree with. Okay, had nothing to do with the color of his skin or the fact he was a different party than I belonged to. Everybody's a different party than I belong to. I think there's only like 45 libertarians out there. Uh, so, you don't hate over it. And I watch so much rhetoric coming out of people, hateful rhetoric. Here's the simple thing: we're all Americans. And what happens sometimes is we start pushing agendas, and we push to the point to where other people start losing their rights, and you're forcing them to push back. LGBT. Here, I'm going to use you guys as an example. I'm not picking on you. Supreme Court gave you the right to marry. That's still debatable whether the court had that authority. Okay, but that's the way it is. And I myself don't have a problem with it. And I know a lot of friends, yes, we're Southerners and farmers, and there's a lot of us that don't have a problem with it. I'm a Christian. I believe that, I've read the word. Not good, but I'm not going to sit here and preach to you. The only thing I'm going to tell you is the love of Christ. And I'm not going to tell you you're going to burn in hell, because I can tell you what, that ain't up to me, friend. I'm not going to tell you you're a sinner. That's not up to me. I'm not going to judge you and your choices. That comes from a higher authority than I. I'm going to love you. And if you want to hear it, I'll share the gospel of Christ with you. But I'm not going to jump up and down on your chest over your lifestyle choices. Now, flip that around a little bit. A lot of people like me who didn't have a problem with this. None. Until you forced a little baker that had a moral problem with serving and baking for a gay wedding. Okay? Now, to respect your fellow countryman's right to his beliefs, you have yours. They had theirs. Find another baker. That's simple. And I'm sure there was a whole slew of them out there that would do that. But that's not what they decided to do, now was it? Instead, they had to run that small bakery. There's where you went wrong. And you're going to hurt your cause doing stuff like that. Okay? Don't force your choices off on people who may not agree with it. They may not stand out in the street corner and protest your choices. But just go, okay, we have the right to marry. Let's find a baker to bake us a cake. Not run around and make an issue. One issue too far. You riled people up. This bathroom thing that they've got going on now, okay? That one's going to be another one that's going to cause a problem. If you guys want a LB or LGBT bathroom and want to push the government to make sure that all public restrooms, or there's 3 of them, 1 man, 1 woman, 1 for whatever you are that week, that's fine. But if you're wanting me to accept a grown man going into the bathroom with my granddaughter, you wouldn't want to go there. Okay? You would not want to go there. It's just the way it is. Trust me. You wouldn't get through the door. Do I hate gays? No, I haven't got no problem. Matter of fact, there's a couple of people that I know that are openly gay. Doesn't matter to me. Okay? That's their choice. But when you try to go into a bathroom as a man, into a woman's bathroom with a woman in there who doesn't agree with your lifestyle, that's where you went too far. Now you've violated her rights to privacy. See what I'm saying? Gain your grounds as far as if you wanted to be married, you got the right to be married. But when you started pushing the cake stuff, people got riled up, now didn't they? Now the only thing you've accomplished is, well, everybody's got to bake us cake. One thing they're going to do to you, my friends, is they're going to look at you and go, oh, we're booked up. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Okay? They're not going to tell you the real reason. They're just going to say, we're busy. Sorry. This was the last day we were ever going to bake cakes again. We may start it up at a later date, but we're just not sure. See what I'm saying? It was a bridge too far. That's what happens when agendas get pushed too far. Suddenly there's a pushback. Social justice warriors, same thing. Sooner or later, you start infringing on other people's rights, and they start pushing back. That's the way this country works. Okay. And if we'd start being respectful, and recognize this conservative is not my enemy, he's my countryman. Or as a conservative, this Democrat or liberal is not my enemy, they're my countrymen. And understand, if you try to push and take away their rights, sooner or later, my friend, somebody's going to push and take away yours. The difference is that person's not going to be standing there defending your rights because you didn't defend his or hers. For the good of your countrymen, for the good of your country. You're not going to agree with everything Donald Trump does. I didn't agree with everything Barack Obama does. Matter of fact, there was a lot of things I disagreed with Barack Obama on. And it wasn't because he's black. It's because he was the president. He was doing what I thought were not good things. Understand? I'm sorry you lost. Maybe next time you win. Main thing is let's pull together as Americans. And while you're not going to be able to support everything they try to do, at least keep an open mind and go, yeah, that's not a bad idea what they got going on there. And get behind it. I could have said the same thing about Barack Obama. He did a few good things and didn't get credit for it. We're getting too divisive. We're all countrymen. Let's start acting like it. Love you guys and appreciate you. Congratulations to the winners and condolences to the losers. But may God bless you all.